Man. So you guys, I had to have a drink after this. So what happened was that they announced with AEW that they moved the start of the show to 2 p.m. Central Time, 3 p.m. Eastern Time, and I do want to talk a little bit about this. That what I wanted to say was that I'm not all for this. Like I actually wanted, excuse me, I actually just wanted AEW and WWE to go on at the same time. And I actually think that's what they should have done, really. But just make the AW card really, really strong, and even say things like, "Hey, we may not have all the matches that we want, but we want to build storylines because the goal is to build towards their Wembley Stadium event next year. Try to sell out 90,000 seats. Try to do the best that you can right now, really." And I really think that moving the event is a sign of weakness, and it's also a bad thing for a couple of reasons. My biggest fear is that they can make the show roughly like 6 or 7 hours again, and that's bad for a lot of reasons. That first of all, it's disrespectful because does anyone want to watch something that's like 6 or 7 hours long? Really, it's disrespectful because people have a life really, and that shows that you want to draw everything out really. And then also for people who review professional wrestling or watch it, you're gonna forget a lot of things really. So I think my fear is that they may do a show like we're gonna do what we do with All Out, and we're gonna do what we do with All In, and just drag this super super long. The other issue is that there's people like me who are vacationing in Toronto, so automatically we lose our afternoon. And then the other thing too is that I want to see Niagara Falls, so this really fucks up my plan really. So this is one of the reasons why it's not always good to have these shows that is really one of the reasons why it's not good and not respectful to have shows that change their hours. But it's mostly on the fault of WWE because they're the ones that decided to counterbook, and then Tony had to respond really like they didn't need to create the show, but they chose to just to go on the offense really. But that's just how it goes in business. I also feel that as I said really, I'm always just a little concerned about what the match card's going to be for AEW. And today they made some really bad choices. Like there was a bunch of matches like Moxley versus Darby Allin, which should have been announced. They could have just announced a women's blood and guts match, or they could have just announced that maybe it's a Continental Championship Takeshita versus Okada, or you could have announced the Death Riders versus Team Darby for the for a match, her blood and guts match or whatever really. Like there's so many things that they can do really. So just changing the hours is not good really. I just think that my fear is that they're gonna make a super long show, and they're gonna drag it out really. And I remember unfortunately when I first went to AW shows, one of my first pay-per-views was I think it was actually my first pay-per-view that I went to was All Out 2023. I remember there was Moxley versus Orange Cassidy, and I walked out and I didn't watch that match. I wish I did, because I was there for the pre-show matches, and now I don't even go to the pre-show matches. But I don't want it to be a situation where it's too long. And I'm like, well, even if it's the main event or even there's 4 or 5 more matches, I'm just gonna leave because it's just too fucking long, really. So it really it's unfortunate they changed the hours. It is an inconvenience. There's also a chance of people like me who work a lot of hours. I do a lot of traveling. I do a lot of travel video. I do video editing. There's a chance of us forgetting that it's in the afternoon and missing the event. There's a chance of us conking out and falling asleep. And other things like that, really. So it just really messes up everything for us. So, I just hope they have the best show possible with All Out. I do not think that they're going to get a fraction to the best what they can do, really. But there's a lot of ideas that I have to make the show great, really. And I sent Tony that, and I have other videos about that, really. But ultimately, as I said, that, Tony Khan has to know how to respond to this and know what to book in the future when these things happen, because WWE will keep on doing this. They definitely want to get rid of AEW, and that's not good for anybody. But they have to kind of AEW has to get into survival and building mode type of mode really. So I really hope they do that. So it's gonna be interesting to see what pay per view they pull off. Really, what match card they're gonna have, and ultimately also how long the show is gonna be, and how they're gonna utilize the afternoon time that well.